Yo, guys, what's up, and welcome back to the Marvelous Chats podcast. This is episode 147. Tonight on the cast is myself, Finto, and I'm welcoming back Sean Talks Movies. It's his second time on the podcast, and tonight we're going to be talking about Venom 3 and any other kind of nerdy news in between. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, leave us a comment below if you're watching a replay, and I thank everybody who's here live. All Sean's links are going to be in the description below this video, so make sure you give him a follow as well. So without further ado, what's up, dude? How are you? Welcome
Hello,
back.
I'm good. Thank you. Thanks for having me back, bro. It's been a while.
Anytime, man. I was just looking there as well just before we went live, and the last time you were on the cast was episode 122, which was on the 24th of January, which is crazy because it
Wow.
doesn't feel that long ago, but it's almost a year.
No,
It's
what the
insane.
hell?
It's
No,
insane.
that
I
that
know.
I was actually just thinking. I was like, maybe it was like April or
Yeah.
May, but January? What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Man, I
Wow.
know. Time is flying. It's terrifying. Look, since
Oh, it is.
we kind of linked up a good bit before we went live together, or before we did the first cast, and I've kept in touch with you since then, and it's been great to watch you
Yeah,
grow. Your TikTok's doing fantastic. I think I checked it, you've like
thank you.
1.5 million likes on your channel, and all. It's crazy. Like, you're doing bits, and it's great to see. For anybody who doesn't know Sean, his links are below, as I said. I don't know if you want to introduce yourself. Go ahead, man. I see some of your followers are here in the chat, so welcome in, everybody. Connor, Kira,
Cool,
everybody.
cool.
Griff's here.
Hey
What's up,
guys.
dude? No, over.
Yeah, well, I guess hello to everybody that's here. That obviously has come in through my links, but to everybody else too. If you don't know me, my name is Sean, but I started up a movie page called Sean Talks Movies last March, and I basically just did it purely because I just wanted to talk about movies. And sometimes it's very hard when your friends aren't as into things as you are, that you're kind of like, oh, I want to talk about everything. And you go see a movie, and then afterwards, like, they come out and they're ready to just go on and live their lives. But I'm like, I want to talk about this. I just wanted a platform, a way to just be able to shout about this. So started Sean Talks Movies, and I do movie reviews. And I guess probably the thing that springboarded me with my followers was my cinema reviews,
Yes.
which I am continuing. A lot of people keep asking me about this. I am continuing it, but it's a lot harder than you would probably think it is to go and visit these cinemas. And I have plans to do an Irish cinema leaderboard, which I announced, but I just haven't kicked it off yet, purely because I've been so busy with work, and I've been just trying to juggle everything, that going down to Kerry in Ireland, for anybody that's, it's hard. It's hard to think of these things. It sounds great in your head, but I do have plans, and I do have things coming very soon that are exciting. But yeah, the TikTok is going really well, and I've met a lot of people. Like, I've met you through this, so it's gone good.
Man, like, it's a very similar kind of story for me, and I don't know if we have had this chat before, but the podcast started with the end of WandaVision. Someone from my Twitch stream, so I've been streaming on Twitch longer than I was doing the podcast, and one of my Twitch viewers was kind of like, oh, I'd love to sit down with you and have a chat about WandaVision. Like, if you can remember the hype around WandaVision when that was over, like, it was insane. It was like
crazy.
Such a great time for the fan base, like, and that was when I really kind of started getting deep into the lore and started watching people like the Den of Nerds and all these other like really big YouTubers. And like, that's when I kind of wanted to sit down and talk about stuff myself. And like, when this podcast first started, there was like 4 or 5 of us, and it was like a really good time. It wasn't scripted. We all just kind of shot the shit and just had a load of fun. And like, that's how I really try and keep this cast. Like, it's Marvelous Chats. It's just chats. It's kind of, we just kind of chill. It's cool. Like, and that's kind of the way I've always wanted it to be. My usual co-host Alex, he's working, he does like once a month, he does on-call work. He works in IT, same as myself, so he can't usually make the cast. So it was just kind of by chance that this worked live for us, because in Ireland we have a bank holiday tomorrow. There's no work tomorrow, so it kind of worked for us to both be live. So it was nice to kind of, usually I take a break when he's on it doing his on-call. I don't really like going live on this channel solo, because it's kind of not what the vibe is. It's it's chats with people, and it's kind of shooting the shit, like what you said. I'm in a very similar position. Most of my real life friends are not crazy into gaming, aren't really into comic book movies and that sort of thing. So I kind of had to do something similar. My missus, like, we've been together for like 8 years, and it's like, she loves all this stuff as well, but she won't sit and nerd out about it like me. You know, I'm like,
I
did you hear
know.
this? Did you hear that? And she's like, I don't want to know. Like, she's the kind where it's like, don't tell me any spoilers, don't tell me any rumors. I don't want to know any of it. And I'm bursting
Yeah,
at the seams. I have to talk about this stuff. So
I'm the
I'm
same.
like, yeah, dude. I'm like, I need to talk about this. So that's where this all came from, and I've had co-hosts and there's viewers from all around the world. It's like it's crazy, even for like a small YouTube channel. The reach that we have is actually pretty wild. And I'm getting people from the West Coast in the US, East Coast. There's a guy who comes in here usually, and he's from
Sick.
Australia, and he's
Wow.
usually tuning into the cast live, and it's Monday morning for him, and he's starting work and stuff. I'm just like, wow, this is crazy. So it's really cool,
That's
man.
so
It's really
cool.
cool. And then doing it live as well is kind of a different kind of kettle of fish as well, because you get some new people coming
Yeah,
in, like CV here coming in just saying that they saw Venom last night. Like, we're gonna get into
sick.
that in a few minutes. Yeah, I'll be looking for your
Yeah,
score now in a few minutes, CV. But it's like this brings a whole nother dynamic to it as well, because like the people can come in, viewers can come in, and they can just direct the conversation in a different way. And I
of
try
course.
not to script. I try not to script these things, but like for a chat with like yourself, I have a few things that I had down. The cinema list was one of them, and I just obviously feel free to take the conversation any way you want, man. Like, as I say, it's marvelous chats. We're here just to have the chats and have the banter and see where it goes from there. But
That's it.
uh, I know you had just said that you had just seen Venom 3. Do you want to talk about it?
I did. Let's do it, bro. Yeah, I literally only seen it today. Like I was so busy over the weekend. Like obviously I wanted to see it on
Mm,
opening night. I think Odin and Blanche actually did a midnight premiere, and I was gonna go, and I was like, oh, do I book tickets? Do I just
yeah,
go to work really tired on Friday? But I said no, I won't. And then Friday night was
yeah.
busy. Yesterday was busy, so only got around to seeing it today. But I don't know. I didn't really like it. Not that I didn't like it, but it's very mid in my opinion. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really know what else to expect, but a bit of a letdown. In my opinion, I don't know what you thought about it. When we were texting each other and we were like
Yeah.
discussing what to come up with, we kept it very under wraps. So this is the first time that we're both
Yeah.
figuring out what we
I
thought about it.
I really try to keep my opinions for this cast and
Yeah, yeah,
for it to be live as well. Because I just think it's kind of more fun that way. Like Alex, who is usually sitting in your seat there, I purposely don't talk to him during the week. Like, we're covering the Penguin, we're covering Agatha at the moment, and each week I'm kind of like, oh, I'd love to text him now and ask him, but I'm kind of like, I want that kind of raw
you're
reaction
away.
as well,
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
we really bounce off each other quite well. Because like sometimes I'll have a take and he'll have a different take, and we hash it out live, and sometimes it kind of gets a bit hostile, but it's great and I love it. I love it that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think it's entertaining when two people have the exact same opinion and it's like, yeah, cool. Like it's
Never,
just, yeah,
never. Yeah,
there's always a bit of back and forth I think is needed, and it's always fun. Um,
agreed.
I think the first hour of the movie, and again, for anybody who's listening to us who hasn't seen Venom 3 yet, I'll try not to spoil too much, just because I know it only came out
Same.
like 2 days ago. But um, yeah, the first hour of the movie was a 4 out of 10 for me. I did not like it at all. The acting was terrible. The script felt really poor. Didn't really feel like anything was like fitting together at all. It just kind of felt like it was just all over the place. I just wasn't into it at all. The last half an hour of the film was, again, not great, but it was fun. Like, CGI was good. There was a kind of, again, without going into things, there was a lot of there was a big fight at Area 51, and it was just like fucking aliens everywhere and everything. Like, it was like taking myself out of it and just going, you know, pretend you're 15 again, like seeing something like this. It's kind of like just, a visual spectacle. And I was like, this is kind of fun. It's not the best, obviously, but we don't go to see Venom 3 expecting an Oscar contender. You know what I mean? Like, it's just
Yeah.
a popcorn flick. It's a bit of fun. So I would say 4 out of 10 for the first hour. Maybe the last half an hour of the movie kind of maybe brought it up to like a kind of high five, early six. Like, I'm gonna say 6 out of 10. I wasn't
That
really
is
impressed. Now, to be honest, I didn't like the first one, and I hated the second one because
okay. So
I love Carnage as a character, and I
yeah,
hated what
same.
they did with Carnage. It was
Yeah,
it was disgraceful.
yeah, it was
So
terrible.
I went in expecting like 3 out of 10 for the whole movie. So when it was kind
Oh,
of four out
so
of ten, I was like, here we go. Yeah, this is what I'm
yeah,
expecting. And
nice.
then
Okay,
the
so it
last
did
half an
better than
hour,
you expected.
yeah, the last half an hour was a little surprising. And then
Yeah.
I sat through what was probably the longest credits of all time. Like they played like 6 songs during the credits at the end. Like my missus
Bro,
was like, I'm leaving. I need to go to the bathroom. She's like, I'll wait for you outside. And then she texted me going, where are you? And I was like, I'm still sitting here. It's not hasn't even happened yet.
literally.
And
The
I was like, come
funniest
back.
thing is the same thing happened, and I was kind of in my own head like, what? Because I was there and everybody left because I went this morning that the
Yeah.
people that was like in the screen weren't really that interested in staying for post-credit scene. They're just going to bring their kids and that was it. But
Mhm.
it was only like me, the people I was with, and then like 3 people behind us and like 2 people in front. And the cleaner, like people were coming in to
Oh
clean
God.
it up. And I was like, why is this taking forever? And they
Yeah.
were just standing there with their hands crossed.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, surely it's coming. And I was like, here we go. And then another song would come, and I'd be like, what is actually happening here? It was
It felt
so,
like
and in my own head, I was like, is this usually how long we have to wait? Or am I just like feeling
no,
like it's taking so long because
it
there's
was a bit of
people?
extra time. It
Yeah,
definitely
it's so
felt longer than
strange.
usual. Definitely felt longer
Yeah.
than usual. I felt like it felt like Lord of the Rings Return of the King, you know, when it kept fading to black and then it was like you think it's over and then it's like, oh my God, another scene and there's like another 40 minutes of footage. Like that's what it felt
It
like
was
to me. I
so
was like,
weird.
Jesus Christ. So again, I was texting her kind of like, no, it's still on. And I said, come back. You won't like, you know, you'll have time to come back and
Yeah,
you'll
yeah.
still see it. And she's like, I don't care. And she's like,
Yeah.
I bet you I can tell you exactly what happens. And she said what she thought was going to happen. And then when I went out and she was like, well, and I said, yeah, you were exactly right. It was the most obvious after credit scene ever.
I know.
But
Like
you know, you got to pay respect. I gotta stay till the end. You know what I mean?
always, even if it's terrible, like
Yeah.
I think it is a sin if you leave early. If you're a big fan and you leave early,
Yeah.
even if the movie is terrible, you're still gonna want to sit there and stay till the end. But it's really funny the whole time that you were talking there, I was just nodding in agreement because I know you said that it's bad when the people agree, but you and I have the exact same opinion on this because the
Mm,
first 2 acts, I was so bored. Well, not that I was so bored, but I was like, this needs to pick up the pace. I don't know where this is going. It's
mm,
kind of boring me here. And then in that third act, I was like, here we go. This is what I want to see. This is
yeah.
good. This is
Yeah.
fun. But I personally felt like, and this isn't really a spoiler, but
Mhm.
I felt the whole hippie family storyline just
Yeah.
annoyed me. I was like, why is this important? Why are we
Yeah.
spending so much time here? Like, if you take that hippie family out,
Yeah.
the story doesn't change that much. I
No.
understand what the reasoning is. It's meant to be an emotional beat, whatever. But
Mhm.
I was like, I'm not here for these hippies. I'm here for Venom. And yeah,
Yeah.
just some weird decisions. I mean, I don't really care to say that Sony have not really handled their Sonyverse very well. And I mean, I think the best part about this movie was clearly Eddie and Venom. Like Tom Hardy is incredible in the role, and I love him
Mhm.
in the role. And I came out and I literally just said, "Oh, I love Venom so much. All I want is Marvel to just get the rights back so they can actually do him justice." Because, yeah, I do agree. The last half an hour, 40 minutes were good, but
Mhm.
the first half of that movie was kind of hard to sit through.
Yeah.
And
Do you think
overall,
Tom
just
comes
kind of
back?
well, I mean, what do you believe? Because he keeps saying, "No, I'm done. I'm done. I'm
Yeah.
done."
Well,
But how many times
so
have we heard that from
yeah.
Andrew
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
so
Exactly.
many other characters as well? But
Yeah.
I think he has made it very clear that he would love to fight Spider-Man, and I think he's
Mhm.
also come out in an interview there a week or two ago and said Tom Holland is his favorite Spider-Man. So all signs
Oh.
point in the direction
Yeah.
of that happening. And I mean, I was sitting there through the 1 hour and 70,000 minute credits that were rolling, and I was like thinking in my head, I said, Jesus, in Let There Be Carnage, the after credit scene was Venom seeing Spider-Man. And it
Yeah.
still hasn't happened. It's like Sony just tack these post credit scenes and big plans that they just don't really seem to fulfill. Like the first, well,
Yeah.
sorry, I say there, but they kind of wreck on the entire post credit scene of No Way Home as well. It's like, why are you doing these things? It just doesn't make sense. But I hope he comes back. I hope Tom comes back. But I hope Tom Hardy, that is, not Tom Holland.
Yeah.
I hope he comes back, but in the right way where it's his character is actually done justice.
Yeah.
But I mean, let's just see, because I don't personally think it's the last one. I don't think until Venom and Spider-Man share the screen together, I don't think that Venom is done. That's my
No.
opinion.
Definitely not. And just the fact that again they brought Null into this movie, and you know he's a
Yeah.
really epic character from the comics, and you can't just bring an epic character like a Thanos level threat
I
in
know.
like Null and then just be like, see you later. And then like, again, doesn't really spoil anything, but there's a mid-credit scene after the film, and it shows Null on his chair, and it's kind of like he's free now. And
Yeah.
I
I
think a
thought
lot
Null
of
was
the
pretty good actually. I like the scenes
yeah,
with Null. I was like, okay, I'm really interested. His design looked pretty cool, although
oh yeah,
I do
terrifying looking.
think, yeah, terrifying. There was one moment where he like stands up off his throne, I think, and
Yeah,
you can see his hair and his teeth and his face, and I was like, oh,
teeth
that
and
is
all. Yeah,
creepy. But
yeah,
then I guess in the after credit scene, you kind of see his face again. It looked very computer generated, but
mm,
I still do think that that character is absolutely incredible, and I hope they can do him justice because I don't know what their plans are and what they intend to do with him, but let's see because I don't know if they're going to be able to handle it. But yeah, as you said, like he is a Thanos level threat in
yeah.
in Marvel comics. He's incredible. So whatever way they decide to take him, I hope they know what they're doing. But I don't think they
Did
have enough credits to say that they do know what they're doing because they haven't really gotten enough absolute bangers to justify their need for a giant crossover villain. But we'll
Yeah,
see.
well, like
What were you gonna
as
say?
well for anyone who doesn't know, but in Love and Thunder, Gore the God Butcher gets like most of his
Necrosis.
power just from holding
Yeah,
Null's sword. Like that's
yeah,
Null's sword. So think about how powerful he is if
I
his
know.
sword just granted that much power to Christian Bale's character in that film. So like
Yeah,
I think even just having that connection as well. We obviously have Spider-Man coming back. It's not a big seat. Like, I know Tom Holland only during the week kind of officially announced Spider-Man 4 is coming. Like
yeah,
if you're even half listening to the rumors or anything, he's down for at least 5 more movies, and I think it's 6 officially. So he's
yeah,
doing 6 more movies. He's doing um, Doomsday and Spider-Man 4 are going to both be filming next summer.
yeah,
So, you know what I mean? 2026 is going to be a massive year for him. There's a lot of kind of rumors and speculation going on that it's, I think they're going to be calling the movie King in Black, and it's going to be linking in with Null as well. So it just makes sense with everything that
yeah.
they're doing. Like the post-credit scene for No Way Home, there's a bit of the symbiote left in the 616. So they have to answer that as to what's going to happen with that.
I
And then
know.
now we know as well, again, I don't really like talking about spoilers this early on, but there's a bit of the symbiote left at the end of the movie as well, which is kind of why we're talking about will Tom come back, because it's like he clearly can. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They've left it open for him
yeah.
to come back, so I really think he will. Like whether it's just
Mm,
going to be Secret Wars and he appears with everybody else and he's just kind of in the background, which I think would be kind of cool as well. Um, I personally don't really rate these movies very high at all. So if he
no.
was just kind of in the symbiote the whole time and we don't even see Tom Hardy and it's just Venom in the background, kind of, I'd be happy enough with that. That wouldn't really bother me. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, I don't know, man.
Like
Like I think
I also don't really rate these movies highly at all. I think every single one of them has been just mid. Nothing has really stuck with me. And
yeah,
as I kind of mentioned earlier on, they make these promises like in the Let There Be Carnage post credit scene, and it's Venom with literally Tom Holland's face as Spider-Man on screen, and it's this giant big let's go. This is finally happening. It never happens. And I just feel like Sony just kind of throw these things at you to kind of keep you slightly interested, but
yeah,
the movies themselves just haven't been that good. But I do think that Tom Hardy deserves like a really good chance to be able to actually be in a great movie as Venom, because I think he is fun and the character is great, but it's just not written well because the scripts have just been terrible.
yeah.
But I mean, even the side characters and all in The Last Dance, I didn't care for them because
Mm,
one, we've just met them. We're
yeah,
3 movies in, and you're throwing a new like 6 new characters at us in a 1 hour 40-minute movie. It's like, how do you expect the audience to care about these like people and characters and
yeah,
things that are happening when it just doesn't make sense? But yeah, the scripts have been pretty bad. But I would love him to get that chance if it is in Secret Wars or if it is, I don't know, in Spider-Man 4 or 5 or 6.
hmm
I would love to see that. And I think it would make a lot of people happy if in, say, Spider-Man 4 or 5 or 6 or 10, that
yeah,
if it is an MCU movie that Marvel collaborates with Sony on, that Venom can come in and then Marvel can say, right, you're not giving us the rights, but if you let him come in, we can write him in a good way. And then hopefully he can appear in Secret Wars and stuff, because I think that's what it needs.
yeah,
Because after that trilogy now, pretty mid trilogy, to be honest. Like none of them have
Terrible, bro.
stood out at all. Yeah,
Terrible.
yeah,
All
pretty
one and
bad.
done.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
one and done for me. Like even the first Venom movie, I saw it once and I will never watch
yeah,
it again. The second movie, I will absolutely never watch that again. I might revisit the first one maybe down the line, but
yeah.
even that third one, if I was to kind of watch it again, I'd probably just scan to the last half an hour.
Yeah,
I really feel like
honestly,
you don't even need to see the rest of the film.
yeah.
It's so self-explanatory what's going on in the film. You could just watch the last 30 minutes and I feel like you'd have seen enough to know exactly what's going on.
You're so right.
Yeah.
Honestly, that last 30 minutes was a lot of fun, but
Yeah.
like overall, it doesn't make up for the rest of
Yeah.
the movie being pretty bad, which is a shame because
It is.
there's three movies that they had. Like if the first one was bad and the second one was bad and the third was incredible, then you'd be like, right, okay, they've learned and they gave us one last movie, but three bad ones in a row. It's like, okay, when are you actually gonna just realize that you just don't know how to handle these characters anymore? And we have Kraven now in 2 months' time. The trailer played before, and I was like, I actually forgot that this movie was coming out. Which I actually kind of, I hate to say it, but well, I don't hate to say it. I'm a little bit excited for because it looks kind of decent,
It does.
rated R and stuff.
It does.
But again, it's Sony.
Sony. Sony
yeah,
have Sony have said that this is going to be the best Sony movie. They say this is going to be the best of like the Sony Spider-Verse movies. Now I don't know if they're just saying that, but yeah, look, you know, Aaron Taylor Johnson's a fantastic actor. You've got Russell Crowe in there. He kind of looks like he's playing a bit of a better character than he does in the MCU. Anyway, I hated his portrayal of Zeus. It was criminal.
I hated it.
Oh my god, I was just about to bring this up, but this guy here who just popped into the chat is a friend of mine, and he's actually going to be in Kraven. He's in the movie.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so,
that's so sick.
We're going to have you on, Eric, when the movie's out and you're not in NDA anymore and you can talk about it. But yeah, this guy, he's a friend of mine. I've known him for years. We grew up together, and he's an actor, and he's going to be in the movie now. I don't know if he has lines or anything, but I believe he's one of the mercs, one of the military men in the movie. So I think Kraven's probably going to take his head off. So I can't wait to see that on the big screen. So it's going to be absolutely hilarious.
Oh, that is too cool.
But yes, he was, as he says here, he was in Ant-Man Quantumania, and
what?
I fucking hate that movie. And I hate to say this about this guy because I love him so much, but anything he touches, he like turns to shit, and I don't know what it is, but I've always joked and said to him, because he was in Andor, and I hated Andor. He was in, and I was like, please, bro, don't come to the MCU, because I was like, if you were in the MCU, I'll never talk to you again. And then he was in Ant-Man Quantumania, and it was like one of the worst MCU movies. I was like, bro, no. And it's like, then he tells me I'm going to be in Kraven. I was like, it's cool. You can do what you want in Kraven. I don't mind about that one too much. But yeah, no, it's cool, man. It's cool. Yeah, no,
is so sick.
I'm very interested in getting him on the podcast. Hopefully we can make it work sometime, because
definitely
he's had a pretty cool career so far. And I think a lot of people a lot of fans of the cast would love to kind of hear his story. Again, I know it all because I was kind of DMing him through it, but yeah, like he was in Game of Thrones for like 3 seasons, and Vikings and everything. Like, so a lot of the shit that filmed here in Ireland as well. Like, so, and as you can see with his little picture, he looks like a Viking, so it makes sense.
He has a lot more hair than I do.
Both of us combined. Man, Eric, it's good to see you, man. Thanks for popping in. So
that's
yeah,
great
look,
to hear. That's actually so cool. That's a nice little treat.
Hey man,
congratulations, Eric. I can't wait to see your head getting bitten off by Kraven in 2 months' time.
maybe we could try and organize something in the future. Maybe all of us can sit down and put a trio Irish lads sit down having the banter. Like, so we'll see.
Please,
we'll try and
sign me up.
Try and make something work. Yeah, absolutely. What would you say? Because I know, again, you probably have your ear to the ground more than I do, just for a general cinema. You know, I'm very much kind of in the comic book / superhero / Star Wars world. What's your most anticipated movie for the rest of the year? Because I know, again, as I say, you're more kind of across the board. So what are you looking forward to the most?
I'm looking forward to a few, actually, but to be quite honest, all of my big hitters have kind of come and gone this year. Like, the ones that I've been most excited for have passed already. There is big movies coming out this year that I know are going to, in the back half of the year, that are going to do really well, but I'm not really interested in, like, Wicked. I know Wicked is probably going to be an absolute massive hit, but I'm not really a big fan of Wicked or
Yeah,
part one, whatever it is.
we're not the demographic for that movie. I
We're
don't think.
not we're not the demographic, but I mean, I'll go and see it and review it because that's what I do. But
Yeah,
I know that that's
absolutely.
probably going to be an absolutely massive big hit worldwide. But for me, it's not really it's not my style. But one that I'm probably going to get absolutely slaughtered for this, right? Is one that I'm excited for is Ed Wood. And I don't know why, but my mom, right? She's been looking forward to this movie for ages, and she was like, "If you get the premiere, you are bringing me to this movie." It's The Rock and Chris Evans, and
Oh yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
it looks like a
Red One or
Netflix
something.
original
It's called.
movie. It's called Red One, yeah, and
Yeah, yeah,
Santa Goes Missing. That one, I just love Christmas movies, and I think that's going to give me a
yeah,
little hit of fun.
yeah,
But I kind of am a sucker for bad movies like that I know are probably going to be mid, but that just make me feel good.
yeah.
I'm excited for that. But I mean, yeah, probably my biggest movies of the year was Dune Part 2. Like that was the one that I just so buzzing for, and Deadpool and Wolverine. But I mean, for the next like 2 months, there's nothing really that's sticking out to me. Ferratu is coming out in America in December, but it's not hitting us until January. So I would put that as something that I'm the most excited for the end of the year. But since we don't get it until the start of the year, then I can't really include that. But that is one that I'm just so excited for.
What movie was it? Sorry, you blurred for a second. I missed the name.
Oh, so Nosferatu.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's Robert Eggers, and it's
yeah.
just looks so sick. But I think the US are getting it maybe on Christmas Day or Stephen's Day, I think, but we're not getting it until January. So that was a
Okay.
buzzkill when I seen that. I think the first few days of January, so maybe you can count it as something near the end of the year, but it's pretty much the start of
Yeah,
next year.
yeah.
But
Technically, it is 2025, I suppose, but
yeah, but
but
it's kind of a
I
slow wind down, to be honest, for the next 2 months. There's nothing really that is sticking out to me.
yeah.
I know there is that the Lord of the Rings animated movie, but to be honest, I'm not too buzzing for that.
That
But
released on the big screen.
yeah, December 13th in
Oh
cinemas.
wow. Okay.
Yeah,
I haven't seen the trailer for it or anything. I'm kind of out of the loop with that one, but I think I
yeah,
did hear some good things about it. I think it's set to be good. So fingers
yeah.
crossed. Fingers crossed. What was the last premiere that you went to?
The last premiere I went to was The Apprentice, I think. Yeah, I think The Apprentice was last week or the week before.
That's the new
I
Sebastian
didn't get.
Stan one, right?
Yeah, it's actually like really good, to be quite honest with you. It kind of blew me away, and I don't know if you've seen the video or not, but it was a really small premiere, right? And there was like
Mhm.
no influencers at it, which I'm not an influencer. I don't like call myself an influencer. I'm just a guy that loves movies, and I have managed to build myself up enough to get invited to these things. But usually when I'm at these things, it's just influencers. Oh, red carpet. We don't really know what this movie is or care. But in this screening, it was no influencers, right? And I was
Mhm.
like, okay, cool. I'm a lot relaxed right now because sometimes you feel out of place at these things. But
Yeah.
sat down, say there was about 100 people, and it turned out that they all worked on the movie
Oh
because
wow.
The Apprentice was funded by Screen Ireland because the US didn't want to go near it because they said we don't want to touch this movie. And
Yeah.
Screen Ireland came in and said we want to put this out. So Ireland and Canada, I think one other country that I can't remember, collaborated together to get the movie out. But for me, it was just incredible because as the credits rolled, everybody, pretty much like 90% of the screen, took out their phones and was all like cheering and clapping when their names came up because they all worked on
Yeah.
it as like 3D
Wow.
animators, VFX, Foley, sound. So that was my last premiere I think I was at, but it was just absolutely incredible because
That's
although it
sick, man.
wasn't the flashiest, coolest premiere, it was one that's definitely going to stick with me purely because I literally got to sit there with the people that made it and
Yeah.
witness it for the first time. It was so cool. But I didn't manage to get Venom. Um, that's a different story. I just don't think Sony liked me at all. I don't know why. I don't even care saying it anymore. But I got invited to Ghostbusters in March.
Yeah.
Gave it 7 out of 10 and never got invited back. So
Fuck.
what
I
can you do?
actually
But
think just
this is the thing. I
just
can't
talking
lie.
about Sony there, I think a friend of mine's mother is very high up in Sony, so like again, I've never even thought about asking her or anything, but maybe I could get on a list or something. But I
Yeah,
just, with how busy I am, like I'd feel bad about being on a list and getting sent tickets and maybe not even being able to use them all the time. Do you know what
that's
I
the
mean?
thing.
So
Yeah,
yeah, it's
sometimes
tough.
it's
Like,
it is hard because like some of them come through 2 or 3 days before they happen, and you're like, oh
yeah,
god, like what do I do? Do I cancel my plans? Do I say
yeah.
no? But then if you say no, do they invite you again? It is quite hard. It's weird, but
Mm.
usually they give you about a week or two in advance. But I
I got a
just
couple of I got a couple of invites to those the Amazon Prime premieres,
oh sick, yeah, yeah,
and like again, I don't know if I was just look at the draw or if they found me through Twitch or something like that. Maybe they saw that I was a Twitch streamer and they sent them to me that way. I don't know how I
nice,
got them, but again, they just randomly appeared in my inbox one day, and I was like, "What the hell?" Like premiere
yeah,
tickets to Gen V, and I'm a massive boy of the massive fan of the boys, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, let's go see this." But
they're
the
really
problem is
cool,
like. Yeah, but it's like in the city center. It's at the worst place ever. Like the
bro. I
Odeon,
know,
that's down near beside the
Point
Three
Square,
Arena. Yeah, I'm like,
yeah,
this is like the worst location ever. And then it was on like starting at like
yeah,
they're like be there at 6:30. I'm like, I work till 5:30. I'm like, I have to like leave work early, like
yeah,
make up an excuse, get home, pick up my missus, drive into town. I was like,
yeah,
we were like, I think we missed like the first 10 minutes of the first episode. Like we were late, like, and there was like
yeah,
nothing we could do. Like, so I'm like, I cannot do this all the time because I'm just stressing out. And again,
yeah,
I got an invite to 2 events after that, but I couldn't go to either of them. Again, it was one of them was
yeah.
for something I had no interest in, so I was like, I'm not going to that. And then another one was for that 007 thing, which I think you went to that one.
I
Um,
did go to that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and I was just like, I can't get in there on time,
I
and
know.
they
It's the
stopped sending me the
worst.
invites after that. Like, I don't get them anymore.
No shade to Odeon, but Odeon Point Square is like the hardest and most annoying cinema to get to. It's like
Yeah,
just right in the very corner of town, like in the
yeah,
canal, like just
yeah,
tucked away in the dock. And it's like, oh, please, anywhere closer would be so nice. But
yeah.
yeah, a lot of these things tend to be like in town, like in Cineworld, which is fine, or Odeon Point Square, the Savoy, they usually always are in there, and sometimes it's just such a trek to get in. But
It's so bad.
if I work in the office, because I work from home, but also in the office as well, and it is sometimes a little bit easier to go just straight from the office
Yeah,
to them, but then it's a really long day, so
it's
it's
tough, man.
tough. It's tough out here, but I mean, I can't complain because I know there's 1 billion people that would rip your hand off to do that. But
Mhm.
I mean, I'm just that's all I've really wanted when I started it. I don't want to become anything else other than just maybe a cheeky premiere here or there to let me see something early. That'd be nice, and that's
Yeah,
all I really care about. So I do appreciate it. And some of the studios like Warner Brothers, I absolutely like adore Warner Brothers. They've been so nice to me since day one because,
hell
as I
yeah, dude.
said, like going into these premieres, I sometimes I'm like, oh God, do I even belong here? But they have always made me feel really welcome, and other studios have too, by the way. Like everyone
Yeah.
that I've gone to has, but Warner Brothers have a special place because they've just been so nice. Their entire team has been crazy nice to me because I was a bag of nerves the first couple of premieres I went to. So yeah,
Man,
it was pretty.
keep that relationship open, and you'll be able to hopefully get to see, like, the new Superman movie. Like, you'll be in at the start of the DCU and stuff, which would be
I know.
hopefully really good. I'm hoping James Gunn does it justice, but
I hope so. I
we'll
really hope
see.
so.
We'll see.
Yeah, it's just actually just literally talking there, and I don't know why it's not slipped into my head when you asked me about what's coming out the next 2 months. But Gladiator 2, sorry, I was literally
Oh
just thinking
yeah,
about upcoming things. I don't
yeah,
know why I didn't say Gladiator 2. Here I was saying, yeah, it's a bit of a slow end to the year. No, Gladiator 2, that is easily my
yeah.
most anticipated for the rest of the year.
Irishman leading that one as well, right?
Yeah,
Our
I
boy
know
Paul Mescal. He's going to be a fucking superstar after this movie now.
he is. There's no going
Massive.
back for him.
Yeah,
No going back. This is it.
he's going to be an A-lister, like, because the
Yeah,
movie, again, when I heard the idea, I was like, Gladiator 2, well, terrible. What are they doing? They're going to ruin the original. Because like I find if you flop the sequel, for me, it kind of damages the original. And
yeah,
I can give you a couple of examples. I'm sure you know a few yourself, but
yeah,
it's like, the first John Wick movie, I think, is a masterpiece by itself, and then every single one that came out after it kind of damages
yeah.
the entire thing, right?
I
Uh,
agree.
Taken is the exact same example, in my opinion. The first Taken movie with Liam Neeson, another Irish boy, like, fantastic movie, and then the second one comes out, and you're like, it's okay, it's a bit far fetched. Third one comes out, even more fucking stupid, like, and then
Yeah,
you're like, it kind of ruins the original a bit. And Gladiator is god tier. you know, the first movie is
Oh
like
yeah,
one. It's legendary.
it's
And
incredible.
now it's like when I heard they were doing Gladiator 2, I was like, oh no, like what are they
No,
thinking?
I
But
was
when
the same.
I saw that first trailer in IMAX, and I was like, holy shit, okay.
Yeah,
And then you hear that there's one of ours in the leading role. I'm like, okay,
I
I'm
know.
down. Let's do it.
And
But
the
yeah,
is that he's Oscar worthy. Like that one, the
wow,
movie itself is like Oscar worthy. That Ridley
yeah,
Scott is like back to his best. That Denzel is gonna be up for supporting actor, but that Paul Mescal is
wow,
a scene stealer. Um,
yeah,
I don't know. Denzel and Paul were on the Graham Norton show there, and
mm,
Denzel literally turned around and was like, "This guy," and he pointed at Paul, and he was like, "This guy is incredible." And
wow,
for someone of Denzel's like stature to say that, he was like, "I'm telling you now, Paul Mescal in this movie is god tier. Like he was singing his praises, and that in itself is enough to be like, okay, I'm seated. I'm so ready for
yeah,
this." And I think, yeah, just like I know for the premiere of Gladiator 2, it's going to be in the Lighthouse. Paul is going to be there. So
sick,
if I got on that list, I think I would drop dead because I would
yeah.
just be next level. But again, so cool for Ireland because you know you've got Cillian Murphy there last year winning for Oppenheimer. Can we go 2 for 2 and see
Could
if
you
Paul
imagine
Mescal can win? Oh my god! Like
such a tiny little island, and we get best Oscar 2 years
I
in a row,
know.
best actor? That'd be sick.
Now that would be like just think about it for just like future generations. It's growing up.
Yeah,
2 in a row Irish people winning that. It's like
yeah,
just so good for this industry. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, that's going to be really interesting to see. But yeah, early indications are that he steals this show big time. So
Wow.
very excited to see that.
No, it looks good. It looks really good. And again, I was the most skeptical that a person could be about it, and the first trailer blew me
Yeah,
away. And you know, I've been burnt
same.
by trailers before. We all have. So I kind of, even if I see a great trailer,
Yeah.
like making good trailers is an art form at this stage. And like, you know, it's
Mm,
a lot of the times it's false advertising, because you know, you go into the movie and you're like,
yeah.
shit, the movie's not as good as the trailer was, or they showed all the best bits in the trailer. I'm
Yeah.
hoping that the movie holds up to how good that trailer was. I presume
I
it
hope
will.
so.
Like, you know, you've got a legendary cast there, and it just looks very well made.
Yeah.
You were speaking about Dune 2 as well. Did you see the trailer for the show, the Prophecy show?
Yeah.
That
Now
look
that is
that
something
looks
that I'm
lit.
buzzing for. Yeah, I was going to
Yeah,
say it when I was going to be like, "Oh, it's not a movie, but I'm excited for that." But
yeah.
yeah,
It's
that looks
looks like a
really
movie
good.
though. It
Yeah, it
looks
does.
movie
It
quality.
does.
Like that last trailer they released, I was like, holy shit, this is like movie production
I
style stuff.
know.
And then like I didn't even know Travis Fimmel was in it and all, and I love him from fucking Vikings and stuff. And I'm like, oh man, I'm like, yes, let's go. Like I didn't even know he
Yeah,
was going to be in it. So yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing for that show.
I
I think
know.
it's gonna
Yeah,
be great.
same here. Especially like because they've literally just come off one of the biggest moves of the year with Doom Part Two, and to
Mhm.
drop like a show that clearly they've got a lot of people in from Doom Part Two because the movie
Yeah,
made incredible amounts of money. That it's just so perfect that this comes out the same year that the movie came out because I'd say a lot of people will tune in just to kind of dive more deeper into the world, which I'm excited to see as well because like although I love the movie so much, I couldn't tell you much about the books really, to be honest. I've not read them,
yeah.
but I know this is
I
set
haven't
like
either.
yeah, no,
Like this is like
it's set
hundreds of years before the first movie, right?
yeah, yeah. So it's going to be like interesting. It is set in the same world as well. It's not just like a spin off. It
Yeah,
is set, although it's like, you know, hundreds of thousands or whatever years before.
yeah.
They're setting the seeds for Paul Atreides. I think
Mhm.
that's when they start their whole kind of
Prophecy or
manipulation
whatever.
of,
Yeah,
yeah, the whole thing. So that's going to be really cool to see.
yeah,
And I think
absolutely.
that's
And I
weekly, right? I think it drops every Monday or something like that.
Yeah, I'd say
So
it'll probably take over the Sunday slot when
yes.
the Penguins finished, I would
That's
say.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't actually started that yet.
Oh my
I'm
god, I was
waiting.
gonna bring it up next. You've
I
not seen it?
know. I've not seen it. I've not seen it. I've not
Wow.
started it yet. I find it very hard because I spend a lot of my time watching movies that it
Mm.
has to be a show that really just like grabs me in. And I know the
Oh,
Penguin will be because I know it's incredible,
yeah,
but I'm just
yeah.
gonna wait until they're all out and then I'm just gonna
Yeah.
binge it all at once rather than
It'll
coming back because I'll
it'll be a
forget. And then
it'll be a beautiful binge, man. Trust me, because like it's one of those shows where you're watching it week by week, and I don't know if you're into kind of like gangster crime dramas, but
oh yeah, I
you know,
am
it's basically The Sopranos in the DC world, right? That's
sick.
kind of the
Yeah.
story of it, and you know, like in those shows, there's a lot of kind of dialogue and you know tension building, story building, and all that sort of stuff. And this show is no different. Some
Yeah.
people don't like that. They're like, oh, where's all the action and stuff? They're just sitting in rooms talking. But you're like, that's this genre. Like, that's what this is. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're watching all the different branches come together, and the double crosses left and right and everything. And like, it's so intense and it's brilliant. And Colin Farrell is just fucking fantastic. I don't know
Yeah.
how I've managed to do this, but pretty much every project we're talking about has like an Irish person in it. I did not plan for that to happen. It's just kind of the way it
Crazy.
is right now. Yeah, it's
taking
insane
over.
actually. Yeah, it's crazy to think it, but yeah, like
Mm.
we are like, that's actually nuts. Like completely unintentional, but yeah, like everything that we've kind of been talking about has like an Irish lead actor in
Yeah.
it, which is wild.
It
You know,
is.
and to keep that Irish train going, I'm playing the Quiet Place game at the moment, and I'm just thinking of Cillian Murphy at the minute. But like,
Bro.
did you hear? Oh, the game's pretty cool, man. You got to check it out. But
I've seen your clips. I was watching like the TikTok clips
intense.
that like the mic picks up on the stuff. It's so clever.
It's intense, man. Yeah, it is. Like, you're kind of sitting there, and again, I'm like a yapper and a talker when I'm on Twitch and stuff. So it's very hard for me to kind of like watch the chat rolling and not like I'm trying to whisper into the mic, and hoping that my mic doesn't pick up the aliens don't pick up the mic and stuff. But it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. But obviously, Killian's got 28 years later coming, which is crazy to think, because I think they're planning to release that when it will be 28 years from the original, which just makes me feel so old, man, because it's like because it's like I actually remember watching that movie when it first came out. Like, I was probably a little too young to watch it, but I watched it when it was out, like, and I'm just like, fuck, man, like, I was like, that's crazy that it's 28 years later. Yeah, man,
it's nuts.
insane.
And I think that's completely filmed on an iPhone as well, which is just slightly modified, but who knows what that means.
iPhone with like a $50,000 lens on it.
But, I know, yeah. Still an iPhone.
Yeah, no, it is kind of cool that they are filming it on an iPhone, though. Like,
that's pretty cool. Yeah, but yeah, I'm really excited for that, especially because he's just on such a hot run, isn't he? I think there's he can, and like I think he has a movie coming out there next week called Small Things Like These, where he plays like I don't know if he's like a priest or maybe not a priest, but I think it's set in like rural Ireland. So that's going to be cool to see as well, because I think he's going to deliver a killer performance in that. But yeah, next year, 28 years later, that's going to be a really good one, because it's been a long time coming, and
absolutely
very hyped for that. Yeah,
absolutely. Do you want to talk about Agatha for a little bit? Because I know you're watching Agatha.
Let's talk about Agatha, because I am watching that. Although I'm not watching The Penguin, I am watching Agatha because I am a massive Marvel fan. As much as I love DC and I love superheroes, I have to tune in to the Marvel ones, because I just adore them so much that they always take priority. But what do you think? I've been seeing you guys talk about each episode here on each week, but what did you think of the last one?
For anybody who's new, obviously the fucking podcast is called Marvelous Chats. Like, it started from a Marvel show, so obviously we cover all the Marvel stuff, good or bad. And again, like yourself, I'm not afraid to say when something's shit. This might be why I'm not getting any invites to anything, because I talk a lot of shit about Disney, because again, they're making mistakes. They're not doing what they should, especially in Star Wars. Marvel has not been good. Phase 4 was very rocky. It had some excellent moments in it, some really good movies, but some really bad shit as well. And Phase 5 has not been good either. So for me, I'm kind of just like,
I'll pause you for a quick second before you continue, because you'll probably notice, right? This all behind me are all like Phase 4 projects, right? Yeah. Which is just so embarrassing, because I just decided to start collecting these things when Phase 4 came out, and you can probably tell I don't have them in order, but it was meant to be a Phase 4 section, and then I was going to go backlog it Phase 3 and then go forward, but I had to stop because Phase 4 was just so bad that I was like, I'm not doing this to myself anymore.
They've got my time. Money. They're not getting my money.
And each one of these is metal. I don't know if you've heard of disc plates. They're metal. They're like 89 quid or something like that. And I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. This is too expensive for these shit projects. But sorry, continue on with what you were saying. I just had to diverge, because I always get stick for some of these projects in the back of my videos being like, why do you have a Love and Thunder poster? I'm like, please stop. They're just that.
No, that's cool, man. Like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? As a collective universe, even if there is a couple of bad movies, like overall, it's still amazing. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, it
yes,
is.
Love and Thunder is one I'll never watch again, but like, you've got Multiverse of Madness there. I love that film. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love it.
Moon Knight was pretty interesting. Started pretty strong, ended pretty
I have
poor, but
you probably can't see it. I have a Moon Knight tattoo on my
hell
arm
yeah,
here.
dude.
Not I know the show wasn't great, but I just think his character just so
Oh, it's
badass.
yeah, he is. He's a badass character. I think they could probably do him more justice now that they're kind of leaning more into the R-rated stuff.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
he needs to be R-rated, definitely,
Yeah,
100%. You know what I mean?
agreed.
Josh in the chat here, Guardians 3 and Loki season 2 were pretty good. Yes, agreed.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Yep.
And like,
Also agreed.
there are some projects that I really liked in there as well. You know what I mean? Like it's not all bad. 100%. Like, I liked Shang-Chi. I thought that was great.
Yeah, same.
I like Eternals. I know a lot of people talk shit about Eternals. I've seen Eternals like maybe 3 times now, and it gets better with each viewing. So
Yeah,
maybe
I
people need to
totally
just
agree.
rewatch it.
It's
They might just need to
visually,
rewatch it.
it's stunning. It's probably
It's
the most beautifully shot like Marvel project. But
absolutely.
and I hope they come back, especially like Angelina Jolie's character. I'd love to see back because I thought she was pretty cool. The same Barry, I'd see Barry going back. But actually, the Carrie, the speedster, like that's one of the best speedsters ever put on screen. The way they handled how fast she could run. So
very cool.
there's some great qualities in that. But I hope they actually return soon because it'd be nice to see.
Eternals 2 was officially cancelled, so I know they're not going to do that, but I think maybe they could do something. I think if they're smart, now we kind of know that they're not very smart, but if they were smart, I think what they would do is maybe do like a Eternals versus X-Men or something like that. Because technically the X-Men are deviants, and they've kind of covered this in the comics only recently. That'd be a really fucking cool storyline and a great way to kind of introduce maybe a new MCU team of mutants and then have them going up against the Eternals, and then you can kind of just do like a Civil War style movie or something like that. Like, that could be really cool. I think the MCU is coming out the back of a really bad couple of phases. Like we've heard kind of through the grapevine that like Sony are now starting to play ball a lot better as well. So I think like future projects between Spider-Man and the MCU are going to get a lot better. Like, I believe part of the stipulation of Andrew or of Tom's new contract is that he can better flow into other projects, which is why he has 6 projects upcoming. So, you could see him in Captain America 4 or Captain America 5 or something like that. As well as like obviously doing a next Spider-Man trilogy and then doing the Avengers movies as well. Like, so I think the future's probably bright in that sense. And then we could get Andrew versus Venom. Like, you know what I mean? Like, anything is possible now. You just know Andrew's coming back. Toby's going to be in Secret Wars. Like, he'll be one of the main Avengers in Civil War. He'll be standing beside Hugh Jackman and Robert Downey Jr. Like, guaranteed. I can see it now, clear as day. That is 100% going to happen. Like, you know what I mean? There's no two ways about it. And obviously we'll have like multiple Spider-Men and Deadpool and fucking all the X-Men, all the Fantastic Four. Like, it's going to be crazy. Like, I cannot wait for like 2027 is going to be absolutely outrageous. Cannot fucking wait, man. Like, it'll be Infinity War style hype again. Like, it'll be a $2 billion movie easily, man. We're going to be so back.
That's what we need.
Wait. Yeah,
I know. Like, but like, I think we talked about this, funnily enough, which is hilarious. I'm pretty sure we talked about this when I was on here in January, but they just need to get the flow and that connectivity back together and make it a little bit better, because some of the stuff that they've done, like, if you look at all these, like, we haven't seen Shuri back again. We haven't, although Thor, I know it's quite recent, but nothing of him, nothing of Werewolf by Night, no word of Moon Knight. The Guardians are in a weird place. Wanda, let's see what happens with Agatha if Wanda comes back. But Doctor Strange, we know will be back. But Miss Marvel was in the Marvels too. But the Eternals, even no word on when they're going to be back again. They did a lot of pushing these characters in our faces, but now we haven't had payoff for like the Shang-Chi post-credit scene. What's that going to mean now? There's a lot of stuff that they just need to now, going forward, with that reduced outputs that they obviously cancel a load of shows and movies, and just make it all connect better again and build up to Doomsday and build up to Secret Wars. That, as you said, everyone is on board and has that hype, because we feel that every single character that's going to show up, we want them to be there because we've seen that they are going to be in it and we see that they are important, fun characters, instead of just throwing characters left, right, and center. Give them a show, and who cares when they're going to show up again? I think they need to they need to get that tacked on, and I think they're starting to do it. They definitely are. But
100%.
you know, if you look at the projects for next year, like Captain America, massive character. It's clearly like he's going to be crazy important in Doomsday, because he's probably going to be one of the leaders of the new Avengers. And then you've got Thunderbolts, which I personally think looks so sick. And again, rumors pretty much almost confirmed they are going to be in Doomsday and Secret Wars. And the new current rumor is that they're going to form like a new Avengers kind of team at the end of that
Dark
movie.
Avengers or something.
Yeah. But Fantastic Four as well, going to be so important. Might be our first appearance of Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom, which would just be groundbreaking. So, you know, the big projects look like they can all have that interconnectivity. I just hope that they do it properly. And let's kind of see where Agatha ends, because that can open so many doors if they decide to do something big with that show in the finale next week.
So yeah, my kind of thoughts on Agatha as a whole, again, like we're kind of breaking it down weekly, but Alex isn't here this week, so I haven't really talked about the newest episode in depth like we usually do. But to kind of do a quick kind of cliff note of the entire season for any new listeners, the show, I thought episode 1 started really strong, where she's in the dream and stuff, and I thought it was really interesting. And my fear was that was going to be the best part of the entire show, was when she was in the crime drama. And I was like, please don't be that bad. Because I really felt like the show wasn't going to be made for me. You know, it's kind of teeny, kind of witchy stuff, and, you know, Sabrina the Teenage Witch style stuff. And I'm just like, not there anymore, man. I'm fucking, I'm a dad. Like, I have my own kids now. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I know. I'm just like, I'm not there. You know what I mean? But first episode was pretty good. Started going rapidly downhill for me, like 2 and 3 and 4 like were not great, and then in the last couple of weeks, like 6 I thought was really good, getting the Wicked backstory and stuff. And I know some people aren't very happy with how they handled that, but I thought it was interesting. You know, it was I kind of called it play for play, exactly what was going to happen. I thought it was like painfully obvious that he was going to be Billy, but you know, maybe when, you know, Wanda ends the hex, his soul just goes into to what's his face, Chaplin or whatever his name is. I can't even think of his name. William Chaplin or something. So I'm like that was so fucking obvious. It wasn't even funny. So I was kind of like, I was kind of proud of myself that I guessed it perfectly. But I did enjoy episode 6. I thought it was really good. And then this week's episode 7, was fucking fantastic, and I can't believe I'm saying that. Like, but it was brilliant. Like, the whole time jumping with the what was her name, Lilith or
Lilia or
Lilia. Her kind of whole arc in that episode was just so like well done. It was very clever. It was kind of hard to follow at times. It was pretty like kind of like confusing, but very interesting. And I don't think the show is gonna be good enough to kind of grab my attention to watch it a second time. But I think if you did do a binge of it and watch it a second time, I think it would all piece together a lot better on the second playthrough.
Agreed.
So I think yes, like, you know, she pulled off an incredible performance in the episode, and it just felt like a different show. And but I saw somebody, I think my missus said this to me actually. She's like, funny that like the episodes where Agatha isn't really in the show are the best episodes of the show. I'm like,
weird,
that's kind of sad, because, you know, like Catherine Hahn is a great actress, but I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the way that they're writing Agatha, but she's like real kind of in your face and kind of like just, I know she's meant to be a bitch, but she's just really annoying in the show. And you're kind of just like, and I don't know, like half the stuff she says is real cringy and everything. And in this episode, she was not really in it too much, and it was the best episode of the series. So that's kind of rough. I feel bad for her in that sense, but you know, they're going into the finale, which is going to air on Halloween night, which I think is a perfect day for it.
It is.
And like, I think that's fantastic scheduling and marketing and everything like that. Like the fact that they're going to say, look, you know, the whole series is out now, boom, it's Halloween, go watch it all. Like, well done, lads. Disney are doing something right there. But I don't know if it's going to be enough to kind of end the show on a high. You know, again, I feel like it's kind of obvious what's going to happen. You know, again, Aubrey Plaza's character being Death was painfully obvious too. And are we going to see her in the finale now? Maybe Mephisto shows up. You know, that I'm kind of just guessing as to what's going to happen. I think they're going to get to the end of the road. Mephisto's going to be there. Billy's gonna be there and be like, have a connection to Mephisto because obviously it's his soul. That's
Yeah.
it's part of his soul. That's his soul or whatever, or that's what they did in the comics anyway. Maybe they find Tommy, maybe they don't. My original kind of theory was that he'd get to the end of the road, always knowing that it was Wiccan and Billy.
Yeah.
Like my original thought was going to be that when he gets to the end of the road, it's going to be like it won't be Elizabeth Olsen there, but it'll be like the essence of the Scarlet Witch, like some fucking red smoke or something.
Yeah,
And then it's like, he releases it back into the 616 and that's how she gets resurrected or something. That was kind of like my original prediction as to what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Now I'm kind of thinking maybe he'll find the second part of the soul, but it won't be an actor, and then he'll have to find a body to put Tommy in or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I do have a slightly differing opinion because which is great. Yay.
Yeah.
But
Let's go.
let's go. I had no hype for the show, right? I had absolutely none. But as I said, it's Marvel. I will watch anything they put out. If it's like a 12-hour black screen with nothing moving on it, I'm going to watch it just to see what happens. And I've absolutely loved it every single week. I've felt that it's improved each time. Like episode 1, I was a bit like, okay, right. Episode 2, when the ballad is being sung, I was like, okay, this is actually kind of catchy. And the Salem 7 are coming. I was like, okay, this is kind of creepy too. And then that ending sequence, I remember in episode 2, as they start to walk down the road, the score, like one thing I think in this show is the score is fantastic. I think the composer is called Christoph Beck, but that score in the second episode at the end when they start to walk, I was like, okay, I'm really into this now. And as it's gone on week, I've been excited for like the trials, and I'm excited to see, and I'm really hooked in to see what is actually going to be at the end of the road. And I think in particular, episode 6 and 7, the last 2 weeks, I've just seen nothing but praise. Although I know the Wiccan storyline was pretty obvious, but I'm actually watching the show with my sister and my mom, and they had no idea because they have no clue about anything. They just watch it. They're tuned into Marvel, of course, because I make them watch everything. But with this, they had no clue.
The lore or anything.
Yeah. So when he was revealed to be the Scarlet Witch's son, they were gagged. Like they were. It was just so crazy, and I think that made my experience even better too. But I think one thing that I just love about the show is that it just seems like the presence on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it is like WandaVision level of theories, because every single week it's like, right, next week this is going to happen. What's going to be at the end of the road? Is it going to be Wanda? Is it going to be Tommy? Is it going to be that that Billy has constructed the whole road himself? Like there's a theory that he is known from day one that this is like a hex of his own, that the Witch's Road isn't even real. It's like his own creation himself that he knows. But there's so many theories.
You think Agatha is lying about being on the road in the first place?
I think Agatha definitely thinks that. Well, first of all, I don't think she's been there the first time. No, I don't think she has. I think this is her first time, and I think she's clearly kind of winging it because she likes to lie about absolutely everything. But I will agree with you. The last 2 episodes that she just hasn't showed up with much. I do think she's quite funny. I think she just makes me laugh. I don't know why. I think she's great in the role, but I would love to see her more, purely because I found the last 2 episodes, although you thought they were because it wasn't really in it, but I found I want to see more because it's her show. Although Lilia and Billy are so important, and Lilia in particular isn't really important, but they just made her so important because that episode was phenomenal. But good. I want to see more of Agatha. I want to find out more about her. I want to see, is she going to end up being nice? Is she just going to actually be a bitch the entire way through? Because you're right, she is a bitch. They're making her an absolute bitch. And I don't know if it's on purpose or whether that's just the way she's trying to come across. But I feel like eventually her guard is going to come down. Like my theory, and I've seen other people say this too, I have a feeling that the finale fight is going to be between, obviously, Death, Rio, and Agatha. But I think it's going to be because Agatha is going to, or sorry, Rio is going to want to take Billy, well, kill him pretty much, because he cheated Death, and because William Kaplan was supposed to die. Billy's soul went in. That's cheating Death. I have a feeling that Death herself is going to want to kill Billy because that's breaking the law. That's breaking what she sees as that. And that Agatha will turn around and be like, you know what? No, I care for Billy. And she's going to show her softer side and fight for him. But I don't know what's going to be at the end of the Witch's Road, because it's just so intriguing to me to think about like all the possibilities that it could be. But I don't want to get myself too hyped that I'm disappointed, because I have found in so many of these Marvel shows that come the finale, I'm like, this is setting up for X, Y, and Z's appearance, and it's going to end on a cliffhanger like this, and we're going to see them here, and it's just never happened. So I want to lower my expectations, but I do feel like they have the chance to open so many doors. And like that interconnectivity I talked about, you said about Mephisto. Mephisto is, I think, almost confirmed to be in Ironheart next year, which airs, I'm going to say, like maybe May. I know Daredevil is in March, which I'm buzzed for, but I know Ironheart is coming soon too. And the villain of that is the Hood, and the Hood worked for Mephisto. So could Mephisto be at the end of Agatha, and then we only have to wait a couple of months before we see him in Ironheart? Like that's what I want. Like even though that's not like exactly. But yeah, that's kind of what I think. So hopefully it delivers.
I hope it's good for you, man. Like I'm glad you're enjoying it. Like I never want to kind of shit on a show and hope that people hate it and try and get people to hate it. Like if you're liking it, fantastic. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing better. I'm not there. You know what I mean? Me and my missus are watching it.
Of course.
She hates it more than I do. And she even said to me last week, I wouldn't be watching the show if it wasn't for your fucking podcast. Like, you know, she's like, I know you have to watch it, so I'll watch it with you, sort of thing. But yeah, she's not enjoying it at all. Like, and but you know, we at the end of the last episode, we kind of both said to each other that was easily the best episode of the show. Like, which I think is that's a consensus across the board. Like, I don't think anyone's arguing that fact. I hope they can keep the upward fucking trajectory and finish on a high. If the finale is even half as good as that episode was this week, I think you know it's probably quite successful. And you know, again, I went in probably very similar to you, zero expectation, like a 2 out of 10. I thought it was going to be like The Acolyte, but in the MCU. I thought it was going to be a complete fucking flop, complete failure. And it's been surprising especially in the last couple of weeks. I think episode 5 wasn't bad either, if I'm remembering correctly. But like 5, 6, and 7, like the last 3, like they've been good. Like, you know, and the last 2 weeks have been really fucking good. So, you know, great. I'm delighted for them. And you know, I don't think Agatha is a very important character. You know, like she's not very well known. She's never had her own comic book run. It's kind of weird that they're focusing so much on her now. I kind of maybe understand it a little bit more. You know, Catherine Hahn's obviously a big actress, and you know, I wasn't shocked to hear that she would get her own show. That's not surprising to me at all. It's clearly a good business decision. But you know, where do you go after this? You know what I mean? Like, I know. I don't think they're doing season 2 of this show. You know, is she going to go into? You know, I know she was like Franklin Richards, like she babysitted Franklin Richards in the comics. Like, do they go as crazy as to like after the kind of soft reboot? Maybe she's like, you know, in that or something. I don't know. Like, you know, maybe.
I mean, I guess the biggest one
is
Wanda. That's
doing a Wanda show. Was it is it a show or a movie?
It's going to be a movie, Scarlet Witch movie. But like then you've also got. 1 billion% she's going to be in the Scarlet Witch movie. But also you've got Vision Quest, which is filming next year. And that's about Vision. So also could appear there too. I don't think it's going to be the end. Whatever happens at the end of the show, if she dies or she survives or she turns good or she stays a bitch, she's going to appear again. I can probably guarantee that. And I'd say her relationship with Wanda is going to be something that's going to be a lot of fun. And Billy as well, because obviously Billy is going to have to grow and his powers are probably going to show more. So let's see kind of if Agatha mentors him until Wanda comes back or what's going to happen. But I see Josh there said, I'm glad Agatha's a good show. So
like look, I'm happy
it's fun.
Are it's fun. It's definitely a lot better than I thought it was going to be. You know, and even bringing back like Evan Peters, who's on fire at the moment in Hollywood. Like, you know what I mean? I thought they were going to do something a bit better with him. Maybe he'll come back again. But it kind of felt like I felt like we got Ralph Bonered again, which kind of pissed me off a little bit because I know like
that did annoy me.
Holy shit, it's Quicksilver. And then like, you know, when they brought him in, he obviously was Quicksilver. He had the speedster powers and everything, but obviously that was just some weird thing that Agatha did inside the hex that was never really explained. Because she didn't even know who he was. You know what I mean? Like the whole thing didn't make any sense. And then like again, we were all hoping that it really was Quicksilver, and then it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm just a normal person. It's like,
I
what?
know.
It
And then
just made
like
no
last
sense.
week, yeah, I mean, when I seen him in episode, I think it was 6 or something, or maybe it was episode 6. I was like, oh my god, they're going to do him justice now, but they Ralph Bonered us once more.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's not to say that in Secret Wars he can't come back and be done justice or
Oh,
whatever.
I think he should. Like, if anyone
Yeah.
deserves a spot from the Fox universe, it's that Quicksilver. He's one of the
Oh yeah.
best parts of the
Yeah.
X-Men franchise. Like, he's incredible.
Yeah.
Josh in the chat here says, for anyone who might be listening to this on Spotify, just says like the whole no one's going to watch Agatha thing. I remember that. Like, look, yeah, like I think everyone had low expectations going into that show. I think it's that Ironheart, all these kind of projects are like the end of the kind of phase 4 kind of let's just make shows about anything and throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. Like, this feels like it's the end of that. I think they're beginning the next chapter with Daredevil Born Again. The fact that they turned around and like binned half the season that was filmed already and just completely rewrote it, fired all the directors and producers, and
I know,
like
right?
Feige came in and just said, nope, we're starting again. Saw maybe a few episodes, it was like, we can use this, but we're completely starting again. Like, I don't know if you heard, but when he watched the first 4 episodes, like they had killed Foggy and Karen off screen. He was
like,
in a depression. He wasn't Daredevil anymore, and we didn't see him in the suit for 4 episodes. It's like, that's nearly half the season. With like, it's only going to be 9 episodes now. Like, if they had kept that up, it was like that was going to be nearly half the fucking first season, and he's just in a mope, and he's not even Daredevil. It's like, you can't do that when this is now. They're saying that the first 3 seasons are canon, and that this is technically just a continuation. It's like, you can't do that. I'm sorry. Like,
that is going to be really interesting though, because I wonder how they're going to handle that. Like, are they just going to full on stick to that and say, yep, first 3 seasons are canon, so whoever's joining in on Disney Plus, seeing this for the first time officially in the MCU now, this is going to either confuse you, or is it going to be a nice stepping in point for people that are only joining in purely because it is now a Disney Plus show that's going to be in MCU. So that's going to be interesting, because if new people come in and they have absolutely no idea, at least they have 3 seasons to watch. But I wonder if they will keep that tone and if they will actually make it match to the way that it was. But I mean, the trailer, I seen a leaked trailer of what it was like I think they showed at Brazil there a week or 2 ago. And the trailer looked pretty similar to what the Netflix tone will be. So let's hope that they can stick that.
Yeah. Daredevil and Thunderbolts will usher in a new era of the MCU, says Josh. Josh, I hope you're right.
I also hope you're right. Yeah.
I have extremely high hopes for Daredevil. I think if there's anybody listening to me talk right now, whether it's on a replay or if you're listening to me on Spotify, if you were listening to this anywhere in the world right now and you have not watched the Daredevil show, please just drop everything you're doing and just watch that show. Binge it. It is the greatest superhero TV to date, and I don't think it will ever be topped. Like, I'm putting my foot down, bro.
Maybe
honestly,
when it's Born Again.
No, I don't even think like, I only listened to Collider were at New York Comic Con this weekend, and they did an interview with Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio, and they were talking about the new season, and D'Onofrio was saying like he was actually shocked at some of the stuff that they've put into this show, that they're like, it's darker than the Netflix show, it's like more gritty, it's like, it's more violent and everything. And
sick.
Like Charlie Cox was saying, he's like, what I was reading the script, one of the lines I said is like, I drop an F-bomb in it. Like, he's like, we didn't even do that on Netflix. Like, and it's like, he's like, this is crazy. He's like, I can't believe what Disney are letting us do. And again, it's the whole new kind of rated R Disney Plus stuff, this is exactly where it needs to go. You can go back through the catalog of all of our previous podcasts. Like, I talk about this all the time. They need to be doing like an R-rated version of the MCU. There's so many people that have come in from like 2008 when the MCU first started with Iron Man. You might have been 10 years old, you might have been 15 years old, whatever age you were when that first aired, and you've been watching it for the guts of fucking 12 years now. Like, it's coming up in 4 years time. The MCU will be 20 years old.
That just,
you know what I mean?
Me so much. Like
it's insane, bro. And like, I think they've I think they've planned it perfectly that they're, the last project that they're doing in year 19, they're doing Secret Wars. There's probably
I
going to be
know.
some sort of a kind of soft reboot after we hit the
Yeah.
20-year mark and we're in a new universe. You get to bring people back like Captain America, Iron Man, get to start again.
Yeah.
Potentially, it sounds like they're going to bring back the same actors. Like, I think Evans is coming back. I think Robert Downey Jr. is coming back, and they're just going to start again, and it's going to be fucking epic. I can't fucking wait.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, like, you've got people that have been watching a growing universe for 20 years. Like, I understand there's new fans that come in all the time, and that's why they make stuff like this, like Agatha. That's why they make stuff like Miss Marvel and stuff like that. You got to cater to the young crowd, but at the same time, you have to cater to people who were 12-year-old, 15-year-old, who, have been in this for 20 years. They're like in their 30s now. You got to make content for them too. Like, you know what I mean? And like, Daredevil is it. The Punisher is it. Like, the
Oh
big
yeah.
Avengers movies, all that sort of stuff is for everybody. But like, there's definitely got to be like grittier stuff in there. Like, we hear Blade is hopefully going to come down the line soon. Midnight Suns, all this sort of stuff. Bring in Moon Knight, do a second season, or bring him into a movie or something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think all the R-rated stuff, like, you see how good The Boys does, you see how good Invincible is, you see how good, like, even DC's a bit grittier in some cases, and like, say what you want about Zack Snyder, but like, his Justice League movie was a big fucking hit, and like, I think there's definitely a massive market for an older, kind of more mature comic book style stuff, like James Gunn stuff in DCU as well, like, and even some of his stuff in the MCU is like a little more kind of mature rated,
Yeah.
and I think go
It
full
is. Yeah.
send into it, 100%. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Disney Plus has the age controls on it. Like, if you've got a 10-year-old
Yep.
son and you don't want him watching any of the Daredevil stuff or any of the Punisher stuff, just put
Turn
the
it
lock
off.
on his account. Yeah, can't watch it. Let him watch it when he's 15 or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's your decision as a parent. But that stuff needs to
Yeah.
be like, you can't just be like, oh well,
It
it's
needs
Disney
to.
now and they only make stuff for kids. It's like, you kind of gotta service the fans who've stuck with you for the entire time as well. Like, and that's why
That's
I
it.
think Daredevil was so good, and that's why The Punisher was such a hit as well, because it's like, you've got people who are now in their mid-20s and early 30s or whatever, who've like grown up watching Iron Man and the Fantastic Four and all these kind of kiddie movies at the time, but now it's kind of, everyone's grown up, everyone's mature, and you want to see mature content. That's just the way it is.
That is it. And I think for a good few projects, they neglected that. And I think that's kind
Yeah,
of what has lost the fan base, because they've tried to cater a little bit too much for too many different types of people, and they've kind of forgot a little bit who they are. And I
yeah,
think when they kind of refocus that and narrow it down to just making good content with good characters, good actors, good production values, then that's all that matters. But some of them have just kind of felt like churned out content. But yeah, I
yeah,
think the likes of Daredevil coming back is like a big step in the right direction. And I can't wait to see the Punisher again. Like, I love him so much.
yeah,
Like John Bernthal as the Punisher is just perfection. And
yeah.
Charlie
No,
Cox
it's
is
brilliant.
now like just the perfect Daredevil as well. So funnily enough, actually, I seen both Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio said in an interview there the other day that they've had talks with their agents about something that's happening outside of their show. Really interested to see what's happening there, because Spider-Man 4, that's going to be filming next year. Can we finally see something that we've all wanted for so long? Kingpin and Daredevil like crossing over with Spider-Man, or is it going to
Yeah,
be somewhere else, something else? But yeah, really interesting. And I hope that Daredevil sticks the landing, because that is their chance to make that mark. You've come just off Deadpool and Wolverine, which was widely loved and made a bunch of money, and it was rated R. So
yeah.
if their first show experiment does well like that, then
Highest
what's
rated horror movie of all time.
yeah, so what's to stop them going down that route more often?
Oh, like, I think it's a no-brainer, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I've been saying this since day one. No-brainer. Like, look at like, the MCU wouldn't even be around if it wasn't for Blade. The Blade movies literally
Yeah.
saved Marvel. So, you know what I mean? Like, if it wasn't for Blade 2, I think Blade 2 pulled in like 200 million in the box office back in like 1997. If that didn't happen, we
Well,
wouldn't be here talking right now. Like,
yeah.
genuinely,
I
like,
know.
we wouldn't even be sitting here right now talking if it wasn't for Blade 2. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, that, there's a lot to be said
I
for that.
know.
Um, so yeah, look, I think they've finally kind of copped on, and they're kind of back on track. Bringing the Russos back, bringing Downey in. Might be a bit of a weird one, but you've got Robert Downey Jr. back in the MCU now, and like, he's an Oscar winner. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be good. Um, I think it's only up from here. I really do. Like, well, maybe not Ironheart, but everything apart from that, I
After
think
that,
is yeah. I
yeah,
think we'll have
I think
something good
Ironheart
before that.
is. Yeah, definitely. Like, and I mean, Daredevil is March, and then I think Ironheart is going to be like maybe May or June. But
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think there's enough time for them now to kind of squeeze Ironheart in before Daredevil. There's been no words about that, but I have a feeling that Ironheart is the last of that kind of churned out content of
yeah,
giving everyone and anyone a show and a movie just for the sake of it. So
yeah,
hopefully then that's kind of the turning point.
yeah,
Let's see though.
yeah. Josh says in the chat here, could the Avengers Secret Wars make $3 billion? I think anything is
Oof.
possible. I think
Yeah, I
anything is
mean that
possible.
is the one. If there's gonna be a movie, it's that one.
Yeah, I
Definitely.
think.
Because that's pulling
Uh,
in so many years.
yeah,
So we'll see.
that's the end. Like that will be. They will market that as the end of the MCU because they're
Yeah.
gonna like reboot the universe and it'll be a new beginning after that. So it'll be the whole marketing around that will be like this is the finale. This is like everything is building up to this, and
Yeah.
I think you're gonna have Doomsday, you're gonna have Spider-Man 4, you're gonna have like Cap 4 and all the other bits in between. And I think like even just talking Spider-Man and Doomsday, those two movies are, from what I hear, completely tied together. It's going to basically be like a one and
Yeah.
two. Like it's basically just a one movie split in two. And I think maybe it's going Spider-Man 4 is going to start off maybe a little grounded, and maybe that's where we see Kingpin and Daredevil and stuff. And then I think they're going to go full swing into the multiversal, and then
Yeah.
it's well known Downey's going to be in that movie. I think maybe that's where Battleworld starts. I kind of thought that's
Yeah, I
what they
think
were
so.
going to do with Deadpool and Wolverine. So I found I was really confused at the
Yeah.
end of that movie when they went back to Earth 1610 and it was still around, and I was like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? I was like, I thought that this was going to be the end of it, and I was expecting by the end of that movie that like Deadpool and Wolverine are both sitting on Battleworld scratching their asses because no one else is there yet. I was kind of like,
Yeah.
I thought that's what was going to
That would have
happen.
been so good.
It would have been so funny, like the two of them just sitting there going, so "What do we do now?" Like, you know what I mean? And we may as well start
Yeah, I was a
sparring or
little
something.
bit
Get ready.
I was a little bit disappointed with the way that kind of ended a little bit because I wanted to see them either one, like as you said, in Battle World or something that would have been hilarious, or two, just literally just in our main MCU
Yeah,
timeline, just to kind of
plopped
solidify
into
that
the
they're there.
616.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
you
it
see
kind of I
Happy at
know
the
that
end,
they're
and Wade like, I'm back.
I know,
Yeah,
like that just would have been so perfect, or like a cameo of some of the Avengers being like, "Who the hell are you guys?" And it's just the
yeah,
best moment ever. But I mean, it will happen. I know it will happen because they're going to be back. But they obviously just wanted to save that and see. But yeah, I think that's some very bright movies there ahead, especially with Spider-Man and Doomsday and Secret Wars and Fantastic Four, and like there's just so many big ones coming up. So
yeah,
hopefully they're all good. That's all we want. Just make them good again. We know you can do it.
yeah. I know.
So yeah.
Bro, I might leave it there for the
Yes.
week.
Same here.
Absolute pleasure having you on.
Thank you
You're
very
welcome back.
much.
You're welcome back anytime. You know what I mean? I think, I could sit here and talk to you for 4 hours more. I know it's getting late on our side of the world here, so I don't want to leave you here
Yeah.
much longer. But guys, make sure you give Sean a follow on all the socials. His @ is on the screen there. Links are in the description below. And we'll see you again soon. Take it easy, guys.
Thank you very much for having me. Cheers. Bye everybody.
Bye.